Partir une entreprise, c'est négocier avec l'inconnu. T'accumules les années de travail et t'en viens à apprivoiser le métier. Et un jour, tous tes efforts sont récompensés. Robert Bernard, c'est 70 ans à votre service pour que vous preniez la route en sécurité, en tout temps. C'est 17 succursales, 400 employés qui s'occupent de vous partout en province. Robert Bernard, une entreprise locale, maintenant leader au Québec.
Driver Academy, l'expérience d'une vie. Viens prendre le volant d'une vraie voiture de course sur terre battue. Vitesse, dérapage, adrénaline, tout est au rendez-vous pour te faire vivre une journée mémorable. Forfait de 30 et 50 tours de disponible, ainsi que la possibilité de former des groupes corporatifs. Nous avons également la formation pour apprentis à l'Autodrome Grand Bay. Tous les détails sur driveracademy.com. De retour à cette semaine aux courses, cette édition du 28 septembre. Bien heureux de recevoir dans l'émission celui qui est directeur de la série Super Dirt Car et également dans les mêmes fonctions chez les Empire Super Sprints. J'ai nommé mon ami Dean Reynolds. Dean, welcome on our show. Finally, having the time to talk to you. It's been a while. You know that I appreciate you so very much, but the border situation complicates the thing just a bit.
Anthony, thanks so much for having me on. And the border situation is tough. I mean, as we get ready for Super Dirt Week here coming up next week, and we're not going to have our Canadian friends and our French Canadian friends with us, and it's a big void in our racing, and just we're happy to have the event. We're happy that we're all able to have races with fans now, but with the border situation, it still makes it tough. And there's people that like yourself that I haven't seen in a year and a half, and I haven't been to Granby, haven't been to Drummond, haven't been to RPM, and we missed the tracks, we missed the drivers, and hopefully next year we can maybe get back to a little more normal. But it's good to see you, and I hope everyone is doing well.
There's a lot of things that you just said. You know how much work we're putting in holding big events in Quebec. If it's in Granby, if it's in Drummond or at the RPM or even Cornwall Motor Speedway, I mean, there's a lot of energy, a lot of hard work behind everything that we do here in Canada. To have you guys from the United States to come here and have a huge event that our fans appreciate, our drivers appreciate, but I mean, I think it's appreciated for you guys as well to come here to get a big weekend and have fun.
And Anthony, that's what's missing. It's good to see Drummond have their big weekend last weekend, and Cornwall coming up, ironically the same weekend as Super Dirt Week. But it's not just the same. The fans and the competitors want to do it together. We want the Quebec and Ontario drivers to come down to Super Dirt Week and go up against the American drivers. And our American drivers on the Super Dirt Car Series love coming to Quebec and then going side by side. That's what we're missing.
Let me translate a bit for French listeners. Dean, beaucoup de choses dans le propos de Dean Reynolds qui nous mentionne à quel point tout le monde chez les Américains s'ennuie de ces événements de course présentés ici au Québec, au Canada, à l'approche entre autres de Super Dirt Week à Oswego, les ressortissants canadiens qui ne pourront pas se retrouver de l'autre côté de la frontière pour y tenir l'épreuve. Il espère bien sûr que la situation à la frontière puisse évoluer suffisamment pour revenir en 2022. You know, when the season is approaching the end, I mean, it's already finished here in Quebec. We're already focusing on 2022 without knowing what's going to happen with the border situation, vaccination as well. Are you still thinking about a Super Dirt Car Series trip for next year? Is it still on your radar for next year? I mean, we hope so, but we have no guarantee.
No, there's no guarantee. But when I talk to Dominic and Raymond and Jan, I've said to them that your dates will always be your dates, unless you tell us that you want to change or whatever. I mean, it's only fair. Just because we couldn't come, last year and still couldn't come this year. We always come to Quebec during construction holiday, and we're always going to set aside that weekend to come to Quebec, hopefully. And, we do a weekend at the end of June where we go to Cornwall, and we were trying to go to RPM. We're always going to try that. And same thing with ESS. I like to bring ESS back up to Canada. So, I mean, just because the borders close and not for anyone's fault, it's just we have a pandemic. We have a situation that we need to make sure everyone is safe. And then once the powers to be and the people in the political world decides that it's safe to open up the border, I want to come on up.
Do you believe that if you are putting our events in Quebec or in Ontario on the schedule, there will be pushback from some American teams with the vaccination issues, with the obligatory vaccines to coming up here in Canada? I assume that it's going to be the case in 2022. So is there going to be some pushback from your teams out there?
I really don't know the answer on that, but I've been telling the teams, when I have meetings or drivers' meetings here in the States, that, we could very well be going to Canada next year, and being vaccinated might be a criteria that you're going to have to do. And, it might have to leave the choices up to the drivers. It's a long ways away, but that could very well be. And could there be pushback? There could be. Same thing with, if we run a 358 Dirt Car Series and we have Canadian races and they have to come to the States and, Canadian drivers have to do the same thing, we could very well have that situation as well. It's tough to say now, Anthony, because we have a long ways to go between now, which is September, to, April, May of next year. But I've been letting people know that this very well could be what's going to happen.
All right. Dean Reynolds qui nous mentionne au sujet de la frontière. Je lui ai demandé est-ce qu'il s'attendait à ce que peut-être il puisse y avoir certains pilotes qui se fassent tirer l'oreille à l'idée de venir ici l'an prochain à raison de la vaccination qui sera assurément obligatoire en 2022. Il dit que c'est déjà quelque chose qui a été amené sur la table à ses pilotes, que l'an prochain, on a l'intention de retourner au Canada et que la vaccination pourrait devenir un enjeu, mais que pour l'instant, c'est trop prématuré de faire des constatations ou on n'a pas de certitude, évidemment, avec la situation qui s'en vient. You broached the subject of Super Dirt Week, Dean. I mean, we won't go at Super Dirt Week, even though we would have been there for sure. But at least we're gonna have a big show here in Cornwall Motor Speedway for the Fall Showdown. I think it's going to be great. There's over 100 drivers already committed in the sportsman and modified divisions to be there next week, so I think that's great. But it won't be Super Dirt Week. How big of a loss is it for you guys without having anybody from Canada at this event?
Well, numbers-wise, it's in 2019 we had 41 competitors from Canada that were part of Super Dirt Week, but the biggest loss is just going to be the fans. We love having Canadian fans come down, and I know a lot of them spend their vacations to come to Super Dirt Week and also to participate. It's going to be a big loss. I have a lot of personal Canadian friends. I know I like to have my beer with Michael Parent or Brian McDonald, and I've known them forever and for years, and a lot of them are family to us. And why we're excited to hold the event. We're glad that the Canadian competitors have a big event at Cornwall, and that's good. So we hope the fans will be sitting in the stands, maybe at Cornwall, and watching Dirt Vision, so they can watch Super Dirt Week as well and watch both events at the same time. We just wish they were there. And I did another podcast before this one, and it was also a Canadian podcast, and it's just not the same. I mean, we're getting prepared, we're getting ready. We already have 180 cars entered, but you know, when you lose 40-something competitors and a couple thousand fans that might come down from Canada, it's a big loss, and it makes us sad. It actually makes us sad because, you know, we're still not doing it with all our racing family together.
Dean Reynolds qui nous parle de l'événement de Super Dirt Week qui va avoir lieu la semaine prochaine du côté de Oswego. 41 voitures canadiennes étaient inscrites lors de la dernière édition. Il y a fort à parier que ça aurait été au moins la même chose cette année. Parle d'une très grosse perte, mais se réjouit quand même que le même type d'événement puisse avoir lieu en même temps du côté de Cornwall Motor Speedway. The pandemic, Dean, brings a lot of challenges for everybody, and racing world is the same. It brings challenges for everyone, and I think the tire issues have been really important for everyone this year, especially at our tracks in Quebec. We were fortunate to go through that season because it was starting to get to be a really big problem for us. There was no tires available at the end of the year, and I'm crossing my fingers really hard that it's not going to be an issue for Cornwall Motor Speedway. What can you tell us about the issues right now with Hoosier Tire providing tires enough for these events?
Well, we had a lot of the same problems here in the States. This weekend, we finally got some tires, but not a lot that we had at our Super Dirt Car Series race. But the weekend before, I had events at Mohawk Raceway and Land of Legends. We had no tires. We had no tires for that weekend as well. So we're having a lot of the same problems. And the problem with Hoosier is having people to work in the factory. Here in the United States, I don't know anything about politics. I'm sorry, I just don't know anything about it. But down here in the States, we're having a big problem with trying to get people to work and take jobs. And we have businesses that are open and want to produce a product and produce what they're supposed to do. Hoosier's ready to make tires, but they can't find anyone to work the factory. And, you know, it's becoming a problem in all business, restaurants. Here in the States, we still have restaurants that close at 9, 10 o'clock, where they used to stay open to 1, 2 in the morning because no one, they can't find any work. Finding labor is tough. So even with motors, I got a couple of competitors that are not going to run Super Dirt Week because they blew their motor back in July and they still don't have parts to put the motor together. So how much it's going to get better over the winter, I just don't know. You know, it's the unknown. I'm on the phone all the time with different parts manufacturers, and I know it's not a problem here in the U.S. It's not a problem in Canada. It's a problem all across the world. Hopefully, it gets better quicker than later, but it's a big concern all around, and we just got to sit back and work with each other and try to do the best we can.
Dean qui nous parle de la crise des pneus qui nous a tous touchés au cours de la saison. On a été capable de passer au travers, mais certains n'avaient probablement pas un nombre suffisant de pneus à leur goût à la fin de l'année. Elle dit que du côté américain, ça a été absolument terrible au cours de la fin de la saison également. Même à certaines épreuves de la série Super Dirt Car, c'était impossible d'avoir des pneus de la part de Hoosier. Vous l'avez entendu, c'est exactement la même situation du côté sud de la frontière. On a beaucoup de problèmes avec la main-d'œuvre, l'accessibilité à la main-d'œuvre. Même situation qu'ici. Il y a seulement une frontière qui nous sépare des États-Unis, mais le problème est absolument le même de l'autre côté au niveau de la main-d'œuvre. Dean, there was a huge news from our friends from Dirt Track Digest last week about Gibson Enterprises that will go off the Super Dirt Car Series next year without Billy Decker, without Pat Ward, and maybe for just a couple of events for Larry White. This is a huge loss for you guys in the series.
Yeah, it will be a big loss. I mean, as we call it, the Big Red Team has been part of the Super Dirt Car Series for so long. And, you know, John White, as he said, though, he's a little frustrated with the performance of the cars, but I think they also got other things going on. John's getting a little bit older in years. You know, he's 72, going to be 73 years old. He's been doing it for a long time, and you know what? If John wants to call it a career or stop owning cars and cut back, God bless him. He's done it for so long. John doesn't have to apologize to anybody. You know, he's saved Brewerton and Fulton Speedways. If it wasn't for John White, those tracks probably wouldn't be here today. John helps out so many competitors with motors and sponsorships and so many things behind the scenes that John does that he never asked for any thank yous or anything like that, but he just likes to help the sport. But yes, not seeing the red cars next year is going to be different. When I came aboard in 2019, and I found out Billy Decker was coming back on the tour and got to see Larry White go up against Matt Shepard and other top drivers. It was a dream to see the best together. But it's time. Times change. We got a lot of young drivers on the tour this year. We've had 19 guys travel the whole series. And, we got young talent coming on up, and it'll fill the void. And, no one can be replaced, but we can always move on and then get some new stars.
The writing was eventually on the wall, Dean. I mean, your best drivers in the series for the last 20 to 25 years, they are getting up in age, and it was evident that somewhere down the road, the Brett Ernst, Danny Johnson, or Billy Deckers would eventually retire from the sport. But the void needs to be taken by other drivers that will take eventually their place. And if we take Stuart Friesen as an example, he's only a part-time driver, makes many racetracks everywhere. He races everywhere where he can. But you can't make everything possible with him. You need to find some place down the road, other drivers that will take their places.
Yeah, in the last, this year we've been very fortunate. We've had Tim Sears Jr. and Chris Heil and come aboard, and Kevin Root has done the series for the first time. And then back in 2019, we brought Demetrius Drelos and Jack Lehner on the tour. So that's 5-6 drivers that came aboard on the tour that's going to be our future drivers. And we're really excited about that. And there's a couple other drivers like Adam Pearson and some others that want to do the tour next year. We're excited about that. Like you said, Anthony, drivers do get on in age, and Brett Hearn and Danny Johnson and Billy Decker and, Tim Fuller, it's amazing how good they were and how good they still are. And they're 55, 60 years old. It's amazing. But like you said, it's time for them to, finally start cutting back on their careers. And we're excited about the new breed.
Dean Reynolds qui nous parle justement de cette passation des pouvoirs qui est en train de s'exercer dans la série Dirt Car. Je lui parlais de l'annonce de la semaine dernière que les voitures Gibson de M. John White allaient se retirer. Donc, terminé pour Billy Decker, terminé pour Pat Ward. Larry White va faire encore des sorties, mais ne devrait pas être inscrit à temps plein dans la série. Puis je lui ai parlé par la suite des retraites de Brett Ernst, de Danny Johnson, qui ne font que des apparitions sporadiques. Billy Decker, maintenant, qui va s'ajouter à cette liste. Pat Ward. Faudra trouver le moyen de les remplacer. Mais Dean a mentionné de certains noms qui se sont rajoutés à la série. Tim Sears, Chris Heil, il y a même Adam Pearson qui voudrait se joindre à la série l'an prochain. On a ajouté Jack Lehner, Demetrios Drelos au cours des dernières années. Donc, ce sont ces jeunes pilotes-là qui sont appelés éventuellement à prendre du galon et devenir les prochaines vedettes de la série Dirt Car. Maybe a tricky question for you to end this interview, my friend Dean. How do you evaluate the competition? Is it really a competition with the Short Track Super Series, or you're just the Super Dirt Car Series in itself? You're making your decisions, you're making your way, and they are doing the same on their part with many other drivers as well. Is there a relationship between you two guys, or it is whatever we can do to help the sport thrive in the future?
Well, and I think with the two series, when you look, both series are doing well, and we're averaging a little over 40 cars, and so is the Short Track Super Series. The main thing is that it's getting more races out to more drivers, and there's more money than there's ever been before. We're offering more money than we ever been before, and then also they got races on the Short Track Super Series that other drivers like Billy Pouch and Mike Gooler and Anthony Perego and Ryan Watt can run. And have a series where they can't come to New York all the time. We try not to schedule on top of each other. Every now and then, though, we have a lot of races. We know what each other's schedules are, but we also have to do what business is business. They have to do what's best for them. We have to do what's best for us. I concentrate on Super Dirt Car Series and try to make it better, try to get more money for the drivers. We try to get more sponsorships, more viewers. And then, of course, we try to get more fans in the stands so the tracks make their money as well. And that's where my focus is. But it's a good time for modified racing. Back 5-6 years ago, there was only like 12 races that paid $10,000 to win or more. Now there's over 30 races that pay $10,000 to win or more. So it's a good time for racing. I think when people were talking about gloom and doom in racing 10 years ago, that, you know, the big blocks will be all gone and there'll be, you know, the weekly tracks won't be here, but racing is still strong. And I think it's just, you know, is it ever going to be like the 80s and 90s? No, nothing is. But racing is sustaining itself. Tracks are working hard. Tracks are, you know, they're promoting hard. They're putting more money into the facilities. The facilities are getting upgraded. You know, racing's in a good part. And I think, you know, with the 2 series, I think it just shows that how strong racing is.
Are you still thinking about different things about your format of racing? I mean, in the past, when the Super Dirt Car Series was coming to town, we were used here in Quebec to have 35 laps main event. But when you guys came here, it was 100 lap, and it was the biggest event of all time, each and every year. But now it's a bit different. We're watching other racetracks elsewhere. Availability on the World Wide Web with Flow Racing, with Dirt Vision. There's we are seeing racing like it was not. We were not able before. Accessibility is really good right now, so we're watching different race formats, cutting back in laps run during the main events. Sometimes 50, 60 laps. A couple of laps shorter, but great competition on the racetrack, and sometimes without time trials. I think that format in the Short Track Super Series can work sometimes. Are you thinking about changing your format, or you're still going strong with time trials, each of 10-lap heats and 100-lap events for most of your shows?
No, we're going to stay with the program because we find that, to us, when people and fans come to the tracks, and the crowds have been huge this year for Super Dirt Car Series, they expect 100 laps. Actually, when we do cut laps, or, you know, we've run a couple 60 laps, I actually get on social media and they feel the event is not, it's weird. They think the event is not as special because it doesn't have that 100 lap. That's always been a staple of Super Dirt Car Series. And that works for us. You know, the time trials, yes, the heats might not be as exciting as they can be, but the competitors seem to like the time trials because it's up to them to get the good starting spot. It's not the luck of the draw. That's why our car counts have been going up, because they know that, hey, this is on us. We have to go out there. We have to perform. If we don't time the fastest, we got to get better. And our car count has gone up ever since 2018. In 2019, we had 14 drivers due to Super Dirt Car Series. This year, we have 19 drivers. I'm hoping for 20 next year. And it seems to be working. And as we say in the States, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And we feel that with the Super Dirt Car Series, that's what we like to do. But with other series, if you notice, they stay the same as well. If they think the 50-lap features work, that's what they run all the time. Except maybe if they have a big 200-lapper at the end of the year like we do at Oswego, that's when we'll change. But for time to come, I think you're going to see 100 laps and still see the time trials. But, you know, it's our job to make sure the event is exciting. You know, we do the redraw for the feature, so the top 12 don't know where they're going to start. So the feature, I think, is going to be exciting, and, you know, the crowd seem to be enjoying it so far. So I think it works right now, Anthony, but doesn't mean we can't change down the road. I'm always open. You know, I'm always open, but right now I think it works for us.
Lots of stuff in just what you said. I just want to translate it for French listeners. À ce sujet de la compétition avec la Short Track Super Series, on regarde ça, on a une accessibilité aux images dorénavant qu'on n'avait jamais vu dans le passé. On peut regarder ce qui se passe ailleurs et comparer les différents formats. La Short Track qui a quand même un format des plus intéressants. On pige à l'arrivée dans les puits. Il n'y a pas de temps chronométré. On commence avec des qualifications. Il faut réussir à se lancer pour la finale. Et ce sont souvent des finales un petit peu plus courtes, ce qui donne une compétition très intéressante. Mais en contrepartie, dans la réponse de Dean Reynolds, il nous dit que, pourquoi changer une formule qui est déjà gagnante? Notre format fonctionne depuis longtemps. On présente de gros événements partout où on se présente. Le fameux titre 100 tours, ça a toujours son attrait pour le spectateur. Et pour le pilote, nos car count continuent de monter d'année en année et ça ne se dément pas. De l'an prochain, on pourrait même rajouter peut-être un 20e pilote qui va faire la série au complet. Mais comme il le dit à la fin, notre responsabilité, c'est toujours d'évaluer le produit et de vérifier si on est capable de l'évaluer encore mieux, de l'améliorer au fil du temps. Finally, Dean, I just want to ask you if you've watched what happened here in Quebec at Trois-Rivières on a road circuit, downtown event, turning left and right for modified cars. I really thought it was interesting. I mean, I was in it hands down, but I want your perspective from there in the U.S., what you thought about those images that we've shown you.
Well, it was funny because I was talking to Dominic in the end of July, and he told me about the event, and he goes, "I think it's going to go off," and I was intrigued. I've watched highlights. I haven't watched the whole event yet. I just wish I was there because I think the event is so unique, and hopefully the main thing is it brought fans to our sport, fans that saw the event, that saw our cars for the first time. Now maybe they'll go to Granby or RPM and Drummond to watch them on the dirt. That's what the event is for. And it's unique. If it's all going to be up to the competitors. If the competitors still want to support it, I'm sure Dominic and his staff and everything will keep it going. I like different things. I think that was kind of cool to see. I run ESS Sprints. I run them on the asphalt once a year. We might even put the modifieds on the asphalt once just to do it again. It was very successful in the 90s. And a couple tracks have reached out about running the modifieds on the asphalt. And that still might be a possibility. But Anthony, I just wish I was there to see it.
Maybe you'll have the chance to be with us when we go back there in 2022. Dean Reynolds, thank you very much for being with us tonight. Hope to see you really, really soon, my friend. We would have hoped to be at Super Dirt Week, but we're crossing our fingers for the next edition in 2022. Best of luck for you guys for Super Dirt Week next week.
Thank you so much, Anthony. And I just want to say thank you to all my French-Canadian fans and competitors. We miss you. And like you said, hopefully we'll get to see each other soon.
All right. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Dean Reynolds, le directeur de la série Super Dirt Car, bien apprécié, hein, comme il nous le mentionne à la fin, cette sortie de nos voitures sur l'asphalte a même peut-être se montre ouvert à la possibilité de voir ce type de voiture à nouveau sur l'asphalte. On a vu, notamment dans les années 90, où ça a été populaire. On a déjà vu ailleurs des modifiés sur le circuit de Saner, ici au Québec, sur l'asphalte. Alors, sait-on jamais, on est ouvert à toutes les possibilités. Alors, bonne chance à toute l'équipe de la série Super Dirt Week, Super Dirt Car pour le Super Dirt Week la semaine prochaine. On a hâte, évidemment, de les revoir. On fait une dernière courte pause. Et au retour, les choix du président. Tommy Lavallée se joint à moi pour le dernier segment de l'émission.
Les gars de course